6A, the Moose Lake School presentation. We have the Superintendent Bob Indihar with us. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me address the board here. My goal today is to kind of let you inform the City Council as to why is the school going out for a voter-approved bond? Why is this, why would we ever do this? We went out in 2014 and kind of give you some insight as to the process we went through. So I'm going to start my story with where we started, which is there were some things that were not finished on the project that got cut because of the last bid going a little bit over. One of the things was a parking lot, believe it or not. There was supposed to be another parking lot on the south end of the property that was going to be like an event parking lot for track and baseball and stuff like that, and overflow parking. I don't know if any of you guys have been into the school like on a grandparent day or things like that, but we have people parking on County Road 10 and we don't think that's a very good idea. And that was never supposed to happen because that other parking lot was supposed to be there. The other issue that we have is that the runoff, even though it was designed the way it was designed, there's too much runoff going across Konetska Road right now and it floods that property on the other side of the road there. The county has approached us and said that we need to do something about that. So we are looking at that parking lot and how do we go about diverting the water, making, and solving the other problems that we've got. So we started there. Schools in general have to go to the public to get additional money. They have to bond for money. There is one tool that we can use that we don't have to go to the public, and that's an abatement bond. And the first page that I want you to look at is the first page. I'm just going to use $100,000 every time so we can be consistent. So we started our story with this. Okay, well, if we're going to do a parking lot, we've got a value of $750,000. We can go out for an abatement bond. It's going to cost that person $26, for that bond. Okay. And then we thought, what would happen if we went out to the public and we just did a voter-approved bond? Because typically they're cheaper, they're a better value for the taxpayer. But the tricky part is, of course, you have to get the voters to vote yes and pass it. Well, in the process of doing this, unbeknownst to us, we still have the availability to get the state aid that we got before, and we did not know that that was the case. So when we did this, if you look, you're not going to understand the three, basically there's going to be two questions on this ballot, but let's just look at question one for a second. We can get $3.9 million for $11. And then if you flip back to the first page, you'll see, oh crap, well, they can only get $750,000 for $26. So then we're like, oh, okay, well, you know what, there was a lot of things that did not get finished on that original project. We can go one way and we can get a parking lot done, or we can go a different way and take a risk and go up to the voters and say, okay, we can almost get $4 million for much less than we can get $750,000. Now there's a little caveat there, and it's not apples to apples because an abatement bond is 5 years and the voter approved is 18 years. But if you do the math, it's a very good deal for us, and we get so much more done at the school. So the next page is basically how the bond is structured. I don't really need to go into that. It's basically an 18-year bond if we're doing a voter-approved bond. But the next page that you've got is a picture of the facility and what we would get for the $3.9 million. The big things are the parking lot. We always had it in there that we want our cross-country runners to actually have a trail, and that got cut in the original project. Instead of them running down County Road 10, we were looking at putting an actual trail out there. It could be used for science, cross-country, and cross-country skiing. We had a locker room down there, kind of like a concession stand locker room area down by that football field. It is actually needed because I can literally not house the football field in the locker room that I've got. So that would be part of this bond. One of the things that's a big passion for many people is the ECF playground. That's probably the #1 thing I've heard since the building's built. How come you didn't build that ECFE playground? That would be part of it. And then, of course, seating for track and baseball. And then there was a softball field there. So, and there's other little things there. You can read what they are, but they're not, the big ticket items are the ones that I highlighted. So instead of just getting a parking lot for essentially or close to the same amount of money, I can get those things that are listed there. And so what we did then is we went and we went to the public, we went to the staff, we had meetings. I've talked to Tim a couple times about, what we're doing. And the next page is kind of our plan. I've been working with the city, or the school's been working with the city, because I think we all have an interest in developing some of that land on 73. The school owns the land, so we came up with a plan. One of the things that we started talking about is what would happen if there was a sports complex out there. It came up in conversations with the community that, well, if you're going to put one softball field in, you guys are looking, I believe you're looking at maybe moving your field that floods all the time to a different place. This could be a place where that could happen. And like if we work together on this, the monies that I'm getting are basically 2 for $1. That's basically what we've got. And this might be a good community green space sports facility. And that's going to basically be question 2. And that's up to the community whether, is this really what we want? You've seen it in other communities where there's like a clover leaf with a concession stand and that type of thing, and shelter in the middle, and appropriate parking. If you look at the last page, that's kind of basically everything in yellow there is what we would get with question 2. So the way that I look at it, question 1 is more finishing what didn't get finished with the original project. Question 2 is enhancing what we've got and more of a community facility. And so, there's a couple points that I want to make. When I went out in 2014 and talked to the public, there was a certain dollar amount that I promised people that we would get within, their taxes would only go up that amount. In reality, they're paying way less. We had always said it was 60% state aid. It actually was 70%. The bonds were less than what we thought. Even if we pass question 1 and question 2 here, the taxes will be less than what I promised in 2014. So when we as a school board or a school district, we looked at this and we said, all right, well, we know we got to get this parking lot done. Here's the cost. The school just doesn't have $750,000 sitting around, so we're going to have to go and do a bond somehow. When we looked at it, we said, well, we can go this route and get a parking lot, or we can go the other route and pretty much finish what did not get done. And I think that message has to get out there, because it will be very easy for people to say, you guys got your money, that's it. And that may be the answer. But the bottom line is, we most likely are going to be doing that parking lot. And if we do it, there's one way to do it, but then the other way really fulfills kind of what our vision was for the facility. So that you guys should know. And I think question 2 really is a community question. And I think that, I guess we're looking for your support on this, and just making sure that you're knowledgeable, because if people come up to you and say, why would that ever be important? Why, you need to know that, if you look at the numbers, it makes a lot of sense for us to do what we're doing right now. Questions?
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
When would you go out for this?
It's going to be May, and it should be right on the top of my head because I was just dealing with it. I want to say May, it's a Tuesday, May 12th or the 14th, I can't remember.
Okay.
Yep, and so on our tax, or on our website, we're going to have information, and we'll have the tax impact and that type of thing, so people will be able to plug in their numbers to figure out what the cost is to them.
May 14th. May 14th?
Yeah.
let's say it does pass, when would you actually start construction?
Yeah, that's a good question. We, obviously some things can't be started right away. The one thing that we're really looking at is that parking lot, because we need to address that runoff issue as soon as possible. So we will try to get the things done this summer that we can get done, but as you know, with the bid processes and whatnot, a lot of the stuff may be pushed into the following summer.
You know, as far as the Little League field that we have down by the campground, we have talked about that somewhat. How would that fit into the overall field? You know, like you got the Hold a Leaf up here, is that?
It would be one of those fields, and those fields are going to be multi-use fields. And so I have talked to Tim a little bit about, you know, this might be a good opportunity, again, for the city and the school to cooperate with each other and to make a facility that might be better than if we did it just on our own type of deal.
So with that many fields, you could have Little League and softball youth going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Right now, we do opposite fields, one by the hospital, the Mercy Field, and one down there, and then they do them on every other night, but this would totally change that. 4 fields, it's a lot, 2 more than what we have.
Right. I don't think you can have enough fields, but you know, this is a concept, and it's the big picture concept. The question number 1 is really the crucial one. Question number for me, for the school personally, but question number 2 is more of a bigger picture community thing. Is this what we want in our community? A nice green space? I mean, part of that is not going to be developed, and so where do people play soccer here nowadays, by the way? So, you know, that, you know, one of those fields would not be developed, so there's just a green space up there that would be mowed, and that, you know, for future athletic things.
Is the road around the back of the school included in either of these questions?
So there is a couple of, the road around the back would be included in as part of the cross-country trail, believe it or not. Is that we are going to be doing some sort of aggregate type of thing going through the woods in particular places. If there's a field, there's going to be parts of the field that will be mowed that we have way in the back. But the idea is we want the kids to be able to get out to our forest without getting, you know, 100 wood ticks on them, and we would have an actual path in a good portion of it. And then coming back around would be behind the school, and we would be looking at having, you know, some sort of path going there. So there is really a small area where there is not a road around the school, and we are looking at that. So
That'd be mostly emergency response.
Yeah.
What, the fire department,
right.
police.
I think we would certainly be part of our responsibility, I would say, would be to support ensuring that our police department and fire department would be able to access the entire grounds. The second question I have is the estimated tax impacts you have here, are they monthly or annual?
Annual.
So, I mean, $26 a year versus, what did we have here? $11 a year, or a total of 21 for question 1 and question 2. So question 1, question 2, with a $100,000 home, $21 per year to have everything that is on this back page here that's highlighted and not highlighted. That seems like quite a bit for a very little fee. Another thing is this back portion, back page, and the second to last page. This one right here comes from that small cities or small development plan that we had put together, and I can't stress enough that the value of the land, the value of developing that land, is certainly greater with ball fields, with trails, with a cross-country trail, with all of these features in our community I think the development back in that area becomes a lot easier, quicker, more valuable with question 2 passed along with obviously question 1. My last question would be, have you met with the community and staff already about, wants, needs, all of that stuff?
Yeah, that's how a lot of this stuff came about. We had many meetings with staff, community, the board, of course, and so that's where a lot of these items, we prioritized them, and that's, these items came to the top.
One more question I could. When will you do like community outreach on these projects, like setting up, have you set up specific dates yet and where?
To what, inform the community?
Yes, the advertising and, try to
Yeah, and
educate everyone.
Yeah, I'm getting a little anxious on this right now because I know when the vote is. It's a month and a half away, and I realize that the citizens really don't know what we're doing at this point in time. But it was kind of difficult in the fact that the board just passed the resolution that we're doing this about a month ago. And so the group that we have helping us with this is ICS, and they're going to come out with a plan for us to get this out to the community. And I think March 25th, I was talking to them today, March 25th, you're going to start seeing a lot more stuff coming out. So, yeah, okay.
What would you like from the city council? Is it anything just informative, or what would you like?
So what I'm just looking for is, hopefully this made sense to you as to what we're looking at. I mean, I think you can see I've got one path to get the parking lot in, and if you look at the value you get with even both questions versus just the one parking lot with the abatement bond, you can see why the school board's taking, it is a risk. We're going out there, and I'm guessing you have heard things about why would they ever do this? They got their money. But it is I believe it's a very smart move right now to do, and hopefully it does pass, because I think financially it's a good thing for our taxpayers. Over half of it will be paid for by the state, and most schools don't get that, by the way. So we have a big advantage, and we can help the city out a little bit on the field portion, and the fact that we can develop a field a lot cheaper than normal.
One last one, which
Okay.
you triggered a question, this. When does that state, kind of like for 1-to-1, doubling, when does that end, where you could not?
It ends when the bond ends, so, but the longer that you go, the less advantage that you get. I could show you later on how that works, but the bottom line is we had a 20-year bond. This is an 18-year bond that we're looking to add on to, or to attach to the bond that we've already got. So that's why we're able to still get the additional aid, which is a good deal for our taxpayers.
Will this be the first time it goes out to the Star Gazette also?
I think Lois has heard this one a couple times, but yeah.
Don't you read the paper?
Well, at this depth, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. Yeah, very good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.